Derby tomorrow. Want to beat them, but I've been in two minds all week about whether to rest players, wrap them in cotton wool. Peterborough would need to beat Barnsley anyway. They've already lost against Barnsley once this season. Derby are going to be up for it. And I've been in this 50-50, no, look after players. Then I've been like, no, let's do Derby. We don't want to play them 3 times. And then something popped in my head. Last league game, last season, before we took on Sunderland, about 10 minutes ago, Barry Bannan airs down pitch, goes 60-70 yards to close somebody down, tweaks his hamstring, he's rolling about on the floor. We're all like, Jesus Christ. What's he done that for? It's his competitive nature. A player like that can't turn off, can he? So it's a meaningless game. Then it's battled to be fit for Sunderland match. He's not 100%. You need players 100% for them playoff games. So for me, I'd make changes. And I think we could still get a result if we made changes. Like Sir Backinson, Delibisheru, Adeniran, Stockdale, all capable of coming in and doing a job. And who's to say that we're practicals where we can't get a result with those players in? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, Volks, Bannan, Johnson. I won't want to be taking any chances with them players. I really wouldn't. I think when I'm fully rested, fully fit, I don't want to risk anyone tweaking anything. I don't like that. So yeah, I'd make changes. Stockdale in net. Maybe Iofa, Heckway, Palmer at back. Hunt right wing back. Brown left wing back. Shipston, Backinson, Adeniran in middle. I might even play Patterson up top with Delibisheru just playing off him, something like that. Honestly, you don't have to risk players at this stage. That team, I think, could get a result anyway. They're all there. They've all played a part this season. They're all professional players. They've all been involved at some stage this season in games we've won. So what's to say we can't do it again with those players inside now? And it's a great opportunity. And if the manager sets them up and sets them up, we've got 3 massive games coming up. You might see this as a dead rubber, but the way to look at this game is you've got 90 minutes to put yourself in your plans for these next 3 big games. There's an opportunity here to get yourself in to be an hero. So that's the way to address that. Will they be match sharp, match fit, these players who's been in and out? Well, possibly not. And this takes me on to something else I wanted to talk about, is I really wish they would bring back the reserves. I was thinking about it the other day. I was thinking about Delibisheru. I was talking to one at mates, and he was saying, should have probably let him go to Blackpool. You know, £500,000 should have let him go. Not been right since. And I think there's something in that. But on the other hand, the players stagnate anyway when they're not in the team. I mean, he's a young lad, 19, 20, but he's got the body of a man. He's got the body of a 30-year-old cruiserweight. Do you know what I mean? He's not... When you're playing in kids every week, is he actually going to be learning anything? Is he going to be able to push himself when he's playing against other kids who are 7.5 stone and can't knock top off a rice pudding? Do you know what I mean? No. But a proper reserve league, I think he'd be able to grow in there even when he's not in first team. He's playing against other professionals, other lads who are bigger than their age group or whatever. Gnarly old professionals who might be on, come back from injuries or whatever. So I think there's a huge scope to bring that back. I know Premier League teams won't have it, and I suspect a lot of star players won't have it. 400 grand a week, you're playing at Crewe on Tuesday night in reserves. There'd probably be some ructions, but for clubs lower down chain like ourselves, I think there'd be a massive benefit where squads aren't massive and you need players to be able to come in and step into the first team and be ready. Reserve team football for me would be a step towards that. Obviously it's not 100 mile an hour like a proper league game, but if you think about somebody like Heckway that's just come back from an injury, he has an half foot under 23s or whatever. Now, in terms of running and turning and all that, does he get through that? You can use that as a measure. In terms of physical side of the game, You know, bashing about a 19-year-old centre forward, he's not really going to learn anything or they'll push on in that sense. So, like I said, players coming back from injury, I think it'd help them. And also, if you've been out of team for a month, if you've got 6 midfielders and your gaffer's only going to pick 2, for example, you might get 6-7 weeks without a game. You can put so many overage players in under 23, you can't put 10 of them in. There's always somebody sat out not getting any game time. And training's one thing, but playing's another. I genuinely think it's something they should bring back. And I know the argument when it all got ditched is, you know, the England team suffers because we don't produce players with technique, and it's the way the game's built, the building blocks of the game don't lend itself to that. And I've got to be honest with you, I think that's a load of bollocks. Firstly, I think it's a load of bollocks that England don't produce players with technique. They do. I think our biggest problem over the years is we have never known how to use them correctly. Because you can't tell me that we've not, you know, John Barnes, Chris Waddle, Glenn Hoddle, Matt Le Tissier, Rooney. You can't tell me we haven't produced players with technique, because we have. But, you know, shoehorning Glenn Hoddle into a 4-4-2, well, it's not going to work, is it? I mean, if you look at him as a player, fantastic footballer. Best football he played were probably when he was like 36, 37 playing for Swindon, because he played himself as a sweeper. He could do that because he was manager and he knew how to get best out of himself. But for England, now 4-4-2, that's how we play. You get in there. Well, I can't really tackle. Oh, we'll drop you then. One of the great talents of his generation, you know. Peter Beardsley, another player. People talk these days about false nine and playing in hole and this. Peter Beardsley was doing that 30, 40 years ago. Fantastic technique, fantastic footballer. So all this, we don't produce them. I look at somebody like John Cole when he was at Chelsea. That is sort of the blueprint, what they want. That's what they wanted when they brought all this in. That's what they're looking at. Diminutive little players who can take it in tight and turn and pop it out. That's when they talk about we haven't got technique, that's what they're on about. But a lot of that's been to do with tactics over years, not to do with not producing players. I mean, look at Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard. Can't tell me them players didn't have technique, but we just didn't know how to use them. We couldn't utilise them correctly. All brilliant for the club sides. So I think it's a nonsense. Yeah, I'd definitely bring back reserves, mate, if I could, if there were any way possible of doing it. Stepping stones for kids. Like I said, some kids, they outgrow the other kids they're playing with. You can be 14 stone of pure muscle playing against a kid who's like an empty shirt floating about, you know. And like I said, if you're 26, 27 and you're not playing for under 23s and you're not in first team, so you're wasting your life away, aren't you? And when you do get called up into first team, somebody's got an injury and you step in for one game, or you're fully ready when you haven't had any sort of competitive game, full-size pitch. It's all right training and playing 5-a-side or whatever, but full 11-a-side pitch, different game entirely. So yeah, I'd look certainly at Championship and below and bringing a reserve league back 100%. I think it'd benefit players, I think it'd benefit clubs, I think it'd benefit young kids, and as I said, it'd benefit those lads who don't skirts at squad. God, that was a bit of an aside, weren't it? Anyway, back to business. Whoever we put out tomorrow, packed Hillsborough, we can get a result. We can get a result, whoever he puts out. But for me, Bannan, Volks, Johnson, Dawson, wrap them in cotton wool, because the last thing we want tomorrow is to pick up any injuries. Do you know what I mean? McGreldrick going up for an header and dead legging Dawson before playoffs. No, you don't want that. You don't want that. Hourihan, I'm not his biggest fan. Could you imagine him leaving some bit studs down back of Baz's Achilles in the last 2 minutes? Because I could see him doing it, because he's that sort of player. No. Don't take any chances, Daz. Don't take any chances.